you. Well, it is true that I'm not running for re-election, but I will say that this evening I got just a little nervous because if I had decided to run for re-election, I would have had to shoulder the burden of the endorsements of both Ron Kirk and Gregory Meeks. And I think I might have been able to survive it, but I'm not sure. To Steve and everybody associated with WITA, thank you very much, and thanks. I received this other award from you all 12 years ago, and I got to say that I don't remember the turnout being anything like this. So congratulations to the growth and the commitment and the kind of effort that you put into this. This afternoon we had a meeting of our trade group, and Angela Ellard reminded me that I was going to be here, and she said, you know, these Lifetime Achievement Awards are usually delivered posthumously. And so it's the reason that I wanted to follow the Kirk model by jumping up to the stage to prove that I was still alive. And I've got to say that it is always a great honor to be with Ron Kirk. He and I are true free traders, even when it comes to cigars, I've got to tell you. And so thank you for that. And I have to say that to be with Kevin Brady and Gregory Meeks, both of whom have been great personal friends as well as allies in our quest to use this issue to, as Gregory said, pursue bipartisanship. Because, you know, I was talking to a news guy the other day who said that the media likes to cover three things. They like to cover mistakes, and they like to cover controversy. They don't like to cover the things where we are able to find agreement. And I do have to say that when we think back on these great three trade agreements that we did, and by the way, I was going to retire 2 years ago, and one of the things that led me to say that I was going to stay on is I wanted to make sure that we got Panama, Korea, and the Colombia deals done. And I'm very happy that we did. And I know there's with the minister, a great group from Korea back here, and I want to recognize them. And I haven't had a chance to see everybody because I came at the end of the 2-hour cocktail party, so I didn't get a chance to say hello to everyone. But I have to say that in many ways, my effort on this issue began 2 decades ago plus. And so as I look down and see my friend Arturo Saracon, the great ambassador from Mexico, it began with the discussion of the North American Free Trade Agreement, and I appreciate everything that went into that very, very bipartisan effort that we had, with George H.W. Bush leading the charge. Actually, Ronald Reagan on November 6th of 1979 envisaged this accord of trade among the Americas, and then we got to George H.W. Bush finalizing this, and then Bill Clinton, very courageously, just weeks before the 1992 election, coming out in support of the North American Free Trade Agreement, and then working closely to bring that about, does show that we can, once again, build this effort. And the vote that we've had non-controversial FTAs that we've dealt with in the past, but when you think about all the controversy that we had surrounding not the Korea and Panama agreements as much as the Colombia deal, to have the amazingly strong bipartisan support that we were able to glean, it was due to the efforts of virtually every one of you in this room, and I want to express my appreciation to all of you for the work that you did to make that happen. I want to since our table has, as you all can tell, even though we weren't all here during the 2-hour cocktail hour, we've been having lots and lots of fun at our table. And since Ron just made his fun-loving speech, I'm going to be serious for a moment, because we all know that this is a very, very serious issue. And that is, well, let me first say that Grant Aldonis sort of pussyfooted around this issue just a bit. I want to say that I would much rather have the resources expended on improving the talent of our U.S. Olympic team rather than paying too much for their uniforms, okay? And I say, I mean, isn't it called the International Olympic Committee? Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. But I do want to talk about this issue of trade for just a second and where it is that we're going. I mean, usually these are events to talk, as Ron mentioned, about things in the past. We live right now with a structure here in the United States Congress that is 38 years old. We all know it's the 1974 Trade Act. And when one thinks of Moore's Law and the incredible changes that have taken place over the past 38 years, I mean, think about it. I mean, in a couple of years, we'll be marking the 4th decade of the 1974 Trade Act. We need to think about those changes. One of the things I think is important to note is that while we all want to encourage innovation in our trade agreements, we need to use innovation to think about how we take on the issue of trade negotiations. That's something that I believe everyone in this room can expend some time and energy and effort on. If you look at these issues like cross-border data flows, if you look at these issues that, I mean, the issue of information is in of itself the single most important trade question that we have right now, and yet we're dealing with this 38-year-old structure. And so I believe that if we're going to remain on the cutting edge, I've used this line that many have in the past. I was saying to Grant, if we don't shape the global economy, we will be shaped by it. And it is for that reason that as we move into the coming days and weeks and months, I believe strongly that we as a nation have to do everything that we can to encourage the American people to understand that these are market opening opportunities for them. Trade is not a zero-sum game. It is a winner for them. And I try to educate and I try to talk about this. We try to encourage the business community to do this, but it is going to be more important than ever to do that. As we look at the opportunity of the Arab Spring, I've just got to give you a little example. And Gregory Meeks has joined with me to make these efforts that I've had bipartisan. I was talking to the Assistant Secretary of State for the Middle East and North Africa a few months ago. And the enthusiasm, we introduced a resolution that simply calls for negotiations to begin on FTAs for both Egypt and Tunisia. And if you look at the division that exists there, the division is very great, and the Assistant Secretary said to me, the one issue around which the secularists, the Muslim Brotherhood, even the Salafists can rally is the issue of strengthening commercial ties. And so that's why we talk about this issue, and it's really an egghead thing, but the security and geopolitical ramifications of this agenda that every single one of you are regularly working to pursue is, I believe, one of the most important issues that we face as a nation. And so let me just say that I am very, very honored to receive this award. It's true that I'm going to be here working very hard all the way up to January 3rd, but come January 3rd, I will be in a different capacity. I don't know what it is. I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is that I'm going to do, but I will tell you this. I know that I will be passionately committed to the global leadership role that we play, and I hope that I'll have a chance to work with all of you. So thanks very much for this.